Hello and welcome to understanding about the financial reporting and analysis group work and the data for the group work and the same data that you will use for your end-term examination too. Till now, in the last 18 to 19 sessions, we saw that business decisions are of three types: financing, investment and operations. And all these decisions involve financial items like incomes, expenses, assets, liabilities and equity. And all these financial items will find place in the balance sheet, income statement and cash flow. And this is financial reporting. So converting the decisions into financial statements is accounting or reporting to various stakeholders, including the management and the shareholders. But once the financial statements are there, we take it forward to undertake a financial statement analysis. So therefore, FRA, financial reporting, leads to analysis, and the result of analysis may come back to helping the management, investors, credit raters, bankers to take decisions whether to invest or not to invest. So in this respect, to undertake FSA, you need information on the balance sheet, income statement, cash flow, and as well as the market-based information. Till now, you might have, or by now, you might have already collected this information from the Proves CMI database. And we said that it is not advisable to comment on the financial statements just by seeing 1 year's data. So we took 10 years data to understand the movement on these financial items. Proves, which is a database for CMI, Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, and which provides information about the balance sheet, income statement, cash flow, as well as the market data. Expect that by now you have this information already with you. So by having 10 years data, you are in a position now to undertake the financial statement analysis. And as I mentioned, the financial statement analysis can be done by several tools, and one of the popular tools is the ratio analysis. So since you have this information by now for a particular company, for your company, which is a part of the listed companies on the National Stock Exchange, and use this data to calculate the various normally accepted indicators of overall performance of a company. And these are profitability, solvency, liquidity, and some market-based ratios. There is no end to these ratios, but we have selected a set of ratios which are popular and very commonly used by different stakeholders for different purposes. So to calculate these ratios, don't put just the ratio here, rather you try to find the formula, put the formula there. For example, if you want to find PAT by sales, you have the PAT here divided by sales, so that in case we want to examine and analyze, then we will know where is this data coming from. So don't just put the amount, put the formula. And once you have all these profitability, solvency, liquidity and market-based ratios, you undertake a intra-company analysis of your own company for 10 years. And once you have the data with you for your company for 10 years, you try to compare this data with other companies of your own group and undertake an intercompany analysis. So intra-company and inter-company analysis happens or brings together contributes towards your improving the understanding of financial statements. Don't see the ratios in isolation. Observe the ratio over a period of time. Examine the changes in that ratio and ask question to yourself, why is this ratio changing? But as I mentioned, these ratios by themselves are not the end of FSA. The ratios are the means to answer some questions that you have. For example, what are the drivers of return on equity? If you have that question, then you can find the answers to this by observing these ratios by using a framework called DuPont chart. If you have a question like how is a company financing its assets, find the capital employed by total assets or observe the working capital. So therefore, unless you have a question, you cannot undertake an FSA. So FSA is answering some questions about the company, about the industry, or several companies belonging to different industries over a period of time. And if you put those questions together, you have a decent report about the company's fundamentals. So these ratios will be with you. Now, depending on the questions that you and your team will generate, you start using these ratios to answer those questions. So therefore, the assignment is, which we have been doing as in the last few classes, collecting the data from the PROVES, converting this data into ratios, raising a pertinent question about the company and addressing that question by using the ratios or the root information which is from the balance sheet. So examine these data and the ratios together to answer the larger questions that you have about the company. So therefore, for your project, there are two parts. This will be, each one of you will have this data for your own company, but while submitting the report, you have to compare this data with your group member companies and write a report to a potential shareholder whether to invest in these companies or not. To do that, you have absolute freedom to use any framework that we have used and we discussed in the class, or if you have any other framework which you might have picked up while reading other finance textbooks or periodicals. So therefore, FSA for us is understanding the decisions through the financial statements by undertaking the financial statement analysis through the ratios, and these ratios are based on the financial statements except one or two items like the market capitalization and the price. So therefore, please convert the PROVES data into ratios, discuss with your group members and compare these ratios and be ready to answer the questions that will be raised in the exam as well as the project. Thank you very much.